Hello, Bronco fans and football fans everywhere. Welcome to Broncos Breakdown on the MHRT Network. This is a show that is everything Broncos and brought to you with emotion, passion, honesty, and of course, my comments along with yours in the chat. All right, guys, thanks so much for joining me on a Friday. It's actually a long weekend for some people, I would imagine. It's a federal holiday on Monday. It's Martin Luther King Day. And some people will have, I know schools will be off and maybe some, obviously some federal government building stuff. So hopefully those of you that are out there watching, hopefully some of you have the Monday off too, and you can be extended weekend. And if that's the case and you are here watching this show, I really do appreciate it. You're taking out the time on your Friday night and spending it with this crazy guy. And just really appreciate your support, guys. Absolutely appreciate your support. If you notice, the Broncos flag behind me has been replaced by the Colorado Avalanche flag. Why? Because the Broncos season is officially over. Broncos season is officially over for various reasons. And we got into that last week and also did on my recap show on Monday. So I'm not going to get into that. But if you want to go through all the ugly details, you can go back and watch the last Monday's recap show, Elevation Orange. Anyways, the reason why I'm wearing this hat that says Champions AFC, because it was 1997. Yeah. And I'm missing those years. It's been 7 long years now, I think 7 years that the Broncos have not made the playoffs. They have not had a winning season. Maybe one in that span. Maybe it was 9-7 at one point. Not sure. But I know there's been few and far between, very far between times that the Broncos have been in the playoffs, let alone AFC champions. So I brought this out just because, I want to try and get that good vibe, good feeling going in the offseason. And there's a whole lot of things going to happen this offseason, guys. A whole lot of things. There's going to be, I'll get into all of that. I will definitely get into all that. But it's not going to be the same type of offseason that the Broncos have had in the past. And what I mean by that is we have a head coach that has made it through his first year, unlike Hackett last year. And I know that Fangio made it through his first year, and so did Vance Joseph. But this is different, okay, guys. And I'm gonna do a little bit of comparison between Sean Payton and Mike Shanahan. And the only reason why I'm making that comparison and is because I want to get you guys feedback as to whether or not you think it's similar. And if so, they're two different owners now. Remember, Pat Bowlen was the owner of the Broncos when he hired Mike Shanahan, and the Walton Penner ownership group is the owners of the Broncos now who have hired Sean Payton. So we're going to get into some of that, okay? So that's the reason why I got this hat on, and that's the reason why the Avalanche flag is up. Even though the Avalanche were playing when the Broncos were playing, I kept the Bronco flag up because their season was still going on. But once their season ended this past Sunday with another defeat and another losing season, the Avalanche flag has gone up. All right, guys, let's kick off the show with the first topic. George Payton doesn't deny the threat to Russell Wilson. Now, I'm not going to continually talk about the Russell Wilson contract, the benching of Russell Wilson, and the play, whether it was done by, because of his contract, which we all know, or whether it was done because Sean Payton wanted to put a spark. Yeah. Did everybody watch that last pathetic game against the Raiders when we lost? And it wasn't Russell Wilson that was playing, because when Russell Wilson played against the Raiders, we lost by 1. This time it wasn't 1, and Stidham is not the answer. Not the answer. So anyways, all right, here it is. During Payton's end of the season press conference last Tuesday, George was asked if he threatened Wilson that he would be benched if the quarterback didn't agree to make changes to his contract. When asked again directly, George Payton repeatedly said he had a good faith discussion with Wilson's agent, Mark Rodgers, no relationship to Aaron Rodgers, but would not reveal details. He also did not specifically deny the threat. Well, of course he didn't deny the threat, guys, because we all know it was about money. And I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole again. I've done this for several weeks now. I'm not going to continue to do it. But I want to put an end to this whole thing. And with George Payton saying or not saying that that he didn't threaten him, and he didn't deny it. He didn't say yes. He didn't say no. He just kind of walked that proverbial picket fence and didn't divulge into any of it. So he's not going to put himself in harm's way when it comes to NFLPA, which is the National Football League Player Association. He's not going to put himself into that situation where he's going to get in big time trouble. So he's not saying he did. He's not saying he didn't. So there it is. I'm putting an end to this whole Russell Wilson contract situation, the whole benching. I don't care. Okay, it's over and done with. I have no control over it. That's not my department, obviously. That's something for the Broncos to figure out, and for hopefully for them not to get in serious trouble with the NFLPA. All right, Broncos busy offseason. With the offseason upon us, the Broncos, George Payton and Sean Payton, will have to address some tough issues. Those are the quarterback situation, obviously, because we don't know about Russell Wilson, but I'm getting into that too. With either sticking with Russell Wilson, free agency, or the draft. They also have, being Sean Payton and George Payton, they also have to address the coaching staff, players that are free agents, and Wilson's contract, and the defensive line, running back, O-line, possibly wide receiver, and cornerback. What? And cornerback? That better not be Patrick Surtain on the line to be traded. I will not accept that. I will not, as a diehard, true, hardcore Bronco fan since 1976, I am going to be absolutely beyond pissed off if they trade Patrick Surtain. And I don't really care, guys. I'm going to tell you this. I don't really care if they trade Patrick. Well, hang on. I should rephrase. I don't really care if the trade would mean that we have a franchise quarterback, because you don't know that. You don't know that when you draft. You have no idea if that quarterback is going to work out in any system. But when you know that you have a solid shutdown corner in Patrick Surtain, and that's a sure deal, guys. I'll get into one of the awards he got, a recognition, I should say. You know that you have that solid player, that solid corner that nobody wants to throw to, and you're going to trade away. I'm just saying, it said cornerback. In that article, it said cornerback. Now, it better not be Patrick Surtain. And I don't care if we trade up and get Bo Nix or trade up and get somebody else. I don't care. We don't know if that quarterback is going to work out in the NFL system, and especially Sean Payton's system. But we do know that Patrick Surtain does. He works in this Broncos system. He is an absolute shutdown corner. So that comment of cornerback in that article had better not be Patrick Surtain. I'll be one pissed off dude, and you're going to hear it from me if that ever happens. Oh my gosh. All right. Hey, welcome in the chat. I don't want to mispronounce your first name. I'm going to say Ka. I could be wrong. Apologize if I am. And Hudson. I agree. Thumbs up. We must keep young Champ Bailey. Oh, absolutely. But young Champ Bailey, let me finish, in PS2. Absolutely. Patrick Surtain is an absolute beast on the corner. And we cannot afford to basically throw away the best corner the Broncos have had since Champ Bailey on we don't know what kind of quarterback we're going to get. I say absolutely not. Do not go down that road. Don't entertain it. Don't even think about it. All right. Mr. Hudson says, No, you said my name right, Ka. Okay, great. I'm glad I said that. That's why I read your thing before I actually said it again. All right, Ka. Thanks for being in the chat. Thanks for being a first timer. I've not seen you before. Thank you very much. Really do appreciate it. Hope you enjoy it. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up if you like it, and tell your friends and subscribe. It really does help the show. It really does help the network. Really do appreciate it. Kamani is in the house. Says, Bill, hello. I say, Kamani, hello. How you doing, my friend? All right. Kamani says, is Sutton leaving us? I have not heard. I have not heard of anybody actually physically leaving the Broncos. I mean, there's been rumors, of course, but I haven't heard anything specific. So I won't comment either way because I really, really don't know. Kamani, I sure the heck hope not. If we get rid of a receiver, how about Tim Patrick? Even though I like the guy, really like Tim Patrick, or KJ Hamler, because they're not on the team right now anyways. So, or do we keep them and trade Jerry Jeudy? I just don't want to get rid of cornerstone players. I've mentioned this till I'm blue in the face, guys. I don't want to mess with what I call cornerstone players, the ones that anchor the offense and anchor the defense. Anchoring the defense is Patrick Surtain, the second. We already mentioned that. Khan, I have, as well as Justin Simmons. I don't want to get rid of them either. And then on the offensive side, I would say Courtland Sutton has to stay. Jerry Jeudy, okay, maybe not. You got to keep a McLaughlin. You have to keep these guys. You have to keep your core players. And I didn't mention Williams because there's a lot of chatter that Williams may not be back 100% even after. Well, can you blame him? He got 3 torn CLs, an MCL, an ACL, and a PCL, I think, or PL, something like that. He had 3 of them torn his knee. I didn't really expect it to come back 100% or be what he was before. But if he can be anything close to that, we got to keep him. We got to keep him. So I'd like to keep Pyrene too. Offensive line needs help. Defensive line needs help. I mentioned that in a previous article, previous segment on what the Broncos are looking for to target. It just bothers me that the last one said cornerback. That really, not corner. And that really bothers me big time. All right. Ka has a question in the chat. Said, which quarterback is Sean Payton's type? I'm going to get into that. In a couple of segments. All right, Ka. I promise, Ka. I will get into that. All right. Let's see. Okay. Kamani says that post he made, I read. I was just wondering. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of talk and a lot of chatter about even receivers or players, anybody saying I kind of feel like I'm on the bubble. I'm not sure if I'm going to be here. They kind of say that in a lot of ways. I think they do it so they prepare themselves just in case it happens. But they also want to let the public know out there that they don't want to leave. Like in Russell Wilson's case, he doesn't want to leave. I'll get into that too. So there's a whole lot of this offseason is going to be electric, man. I mean, it's going to make me go through this offseason without having to scramble for topics. It's really not. I mean, they're going to be bringing them to me, basically, handing them to me on a silver platter. So, I like the okay. I don't like the off season where there's a whole lot of stuff going on by the Broncos like this, like all of these players leaving or coaching situations or general manager situations or head coach being fired. Not this one, but in the past, that kind of thing. I like it for my show. I don't like it for the team. So it's like a win-lose situation because I don't want the Broncos to have to go through this. I'd rather be talking about them in the playoffs, rather be talking about them coming up this weekend to play a meaningful playoff game. Nope, we haven't had one since, you realize, guys, we haven't had one since Tim Tebow. Well, take it back. Okay, Tim Tebow before Peyton Manning. Yeah, I get it. But I'm talking about somebody who's not Peyton Manning. Somebody who's not Peyton Manning. This Broncos team has not won a playoff game since Tim Tebow. Just saying, guys. I mean, it is where we are. And hopefully, it'll get better. We won't have to go down this negative road every single off season. Absolutely. Let's see, boy, this chat's blowing up. I love it. Kyle Hudson says, Judy is a playmaker and we must keep him too. I agree. I don't know why Jerry Judy doesn't get the recognition that he deserves. I mean, I know he's dropped some passes and he's fumbled some balls and, things like that, but he is a playmaker. He runs specific routes. And when you run a specific route and you have a quarterback like Russell Wilson, who runs out of the pocket constantly, or runs in the defense, but runs out of the pocket constantly. So if Russell Wilson's going to the right and Jerry Judy is on the right and goes to the left, Russell Wilson ain't going to see him. Well, also, Russell Wilson isn't going to see him for two reasons. One, because he's running the opposite way because he's going to his actual route. And two, because Russell Wilson's like 3.5. I mean, 3 feet, 5 inches. Not really, but I mean, he's short. He's short for a quarterback. So he's not going to see him. That's why he has to roll out because he can't see over the lineman. I mean, he's been doing it his whole career. It just doesn't work in Denver, not under Sean Payton's type of system. All right. Muhammad Badri in the house. Muhammad says, hello, Bill. I say hello, Muhammad. Nice to have you in chat as always. Really do appreciate it. Thanks you guys so much for spending your Friday evening, part of it, with me. I greatly appreciate it. All right. Kamani Dixon says, bye-bye, Bowles. He has to go. I would agree. It's time. Garrett Bowles, he had, a better year, so to speak, with the new offensive line coach and everything. But he still takes way too many critical penalties, holding penalties. And I understand he wants to protect his quarterback. I get that. But you got to learn how to do it without holding, without, just taking these unnecessary penalties. You got to learn, how to block your guy without holding him and throwing him down or doing whatever. And because Garrett Bowles' history is filled with penalties, then I would have to agree. Kamani, we have to say goodbye to Garrett Bowles, get somebody in there who knows how to play the game fairly and not commit all of these ridiculous ridiculous penalties. Totally agree. Kyle Hudson says, Javonte Williams runs too hard. He loves contact. No, Javonte Williams does. Okay, he doesn't have breakaway moves. Okay, I see what you're saying. He does not have breakaway moves, but he runs over people. I mean, this guy will keep his legs going. You can hit him. Let's say, his first contact is 5 yards up the field. He'll carry a guy. I don't know. Did you, maybe Kai, I don't know, or Kai, if you saw this or not, but go back, type in Javonte Williams run against Pittsburgh Steelers. I think it was no, he didn't play last year. So it had to be the year before. So a couple years ago, he carried guys 15 yards. 15 yards he was carrying these guys. I mean, it was ridiculously awesome. Breakaway moves, no. But contact, yes, because he likes to keep driving, keep moving forward, keep his legs going. And that's what I love about this kid. That's what I love about this guy. But I also like Jamal McLaughlin. I like that kid a lot. I like Pyrene. They're all different, but special in their own way. Williams runs over people. McLaughlin, he's got some good moves. Pyrene, great hands out of the backfield. So, yeah, all three of them we need to keep. I'm not sure we're going to be able to. I would love to, but I'm not quite sure we're going to be able to. And that's alarming. That's because I don't know which one we'll get rid of. And whichever one we do, we're going to lose something, obviously. If we get rid of Williams, we'll lose his ability to just run over people. McLaughlin, he's on his rookie contract, so we're not getting rid of him. Pyrene, we'll lose his hands out of the backfield. So I don't know. It's going to be a very, very interesting offseason. No doubt about it. Right. Wow. Where are we going here, man? You guys are blowing up. This is great. Okay. This is, Kamani, I'm bringing this up because that's my next segment. Okay. Man, you got ESP or something, Kamani? Kamani says, I won't be surprised if Wilson will be in a Broncos uniform and he takes a pay cut takes a pay cut to stay on the team. Okay. Well, here is that segment. Here it is. Wilson is open to returning to Denver. The Denver Broncos and Russell Wilson haven't actually seen eye to eye this past season. However, per George Payton, Russell Wilson is open to returning to the Broncos. Okay. But is Denver open to keeping Wilson due to his contract and his play on the field? That's the question. That is the question. Well, that takes me right into the same segment, but from George Payton's side of it. Here it is. Or excuse me, Sean Payton's side of it. Here it is. Sean Payton has said this past week there is a scenario that Russell Wilson is back on the Broncos next season. What's that scenario? Well, just read it. Russell Wilson is open to coming back to the Broncos. Does that mean he restructures his contract? I don't know. Does it mean the Broncos give in and say, okay, you know what? We'll honor that injury clause should he get injured? Or are the Broncos saying, okay, you can come back, but you got to fight out. You got to fight it out with the other quarterbacks we bring in to see if you're the starting quarterback. Now, he may be open to coming back or staying with the Broncos, I should say, because his contract is still there. So he may be open to staying with the Broncos, which obviously he is. And the Broncos may say, okay, fine. Then you have to go through the same thing that rookie quarterbacks do or whomever we have, and you have to earn that quarterback spot. Is Sean Payton really going to want to help Russell Wilson, knowing that Russell Wilson's not a pocket passer because he can't see over the lineman's back? For sure. So does that mean that, I'm not going to say the word sabotage, although I did. Would Sean Payton be inclined to do that? I don't know. I don't know Sean Payton. I mean, I would hope not. I would hope that a head coach would want to get the best out of every player he has, regardless whether or not he fits into what his scheme is. Is he willing to change that scheme? I don't know. I didn't see it much this year. Really didn't. And he's been a seasoned head coach for many years, and I haven't seen him when he was in New Orleans change anything. Now, but again, I don't know. So I don't know why, not why, but I don't know what's going to transpire if they keep Russell Wilson under what condition. Let me continue. I said, let me go back to this. Sean Payton has said this past week, there's a scenario that Russell Wilson is back on the Broncos next season. Otherwise, Sean Payton would have said goodbye to Russell Wilson when they talked last Tuesday. The final decision hasn't been made as of yet. Okay. Maybe they are talking contract with his agent. Maybe they are talking to Russell and say, hey, you know what? We really want, we want to keep you. We really want to keep you, but we need this and this and this to happen. Don't know. Does this and this and this mean contract wise? Does this and this mean better play on the field? Possibly both. Does it mean possibly a backup role? I doubt Russell Wilson would take that. He wants to be a starter. But then if you have a draft, if you draft a quarterback, okay, let's say the Broncos draft a quarterback at number 12. He's not any, shining glory honor. He's not the knight on the white horse coming in to, save the team. But he's going to have to learn under whom? Well, he can learn under Russell Wilson. Okay. He can not learn how to play quarterback. It's his own style. I'm talking about learn under Russell Wilson, the work ethic, the how to get your body into shape, the playbook, the verbiage, all that kind of stuff. Every rookie quarterback learns from the starting quarterback. Inevitably, they always learn from them, always. And they learn from other people as well, and the coaches and whatnot. But they absolutely study the starting quarterback to see what they do, how they do it, and what works. So I don't know. I know there's a lot of people out there, and I've talked to several of them this past week that don't want Russell Wilson back on the Broncos. I say, why not? They go, well, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. Blah. And I say, oh, hello? Who was the quarterback when the Broncos won 5 straight games? Oh, did they beat teams that really sucked? Did they beat, No, they even lost to teams that sucked. Put it that way. They lost to the Jets. They lost to the Commanders. They lost to the Patriots. Come on, man. They lost to the Raiders. I mean, really? But in that 5-game win streak, the only team that was under 500 at the time that the Broncos beat was the Green Bay Packers. They beat the Kansas City Chiefs. They beat the Buffalo. Oh, sorry, guys, hit the microphone. They beat the Kansas City Chiefs. They beat the Buffalo Bills. They beat the Minnesota Vikings, who were on their own 5-game win streak. They beat the Vikings. They beat the Cleveland Browns. Every single one of those 4 had winning records or a 5-game win streak. And the Broncos beat all 4 of them. So you can't sit there and tell me that Russell Wilson can't play in this offense, because he can. And I know, guys, before you hit me up with, well, the only reason why the Broncos won those games is because the defense had all those turnovers. Well, guess what? That's what you do to win games. If your offense is struggling, and yes, I know Russell Wilson's a quarterback on the offense, I get it. But if the offense is struggling, but the defense is putting you in position to win, isn't that a balanced team? Isn't that what you're supposed to do? Absolutely. The defense has to help out the offense when the offense is struggling. The offense has to help out the defense when the defense is struggling. Okay? We saw that in Super Bowl 50, where the defense single-handedly, by Von Miller and others, single-handedly beat the Carolina Panthers, because it wasn't Peyton Manning that did it. I mean, he had a hand in it, but that's because the Broncos defense was putting the Broncos offense and Peyton Manning in a perfect situation. It happens sometimes like that. It does. Defense wins championships. Everybody knows that. Well, in that 5-game win streak, the Broncos needed to rely on their defense. And they absolutely did. Did the defense help out in the last 6 games? No, they didn't. But they were pretty much exhausted because the offense wasn't doing theirs. I'm not saying Russell Wilson's the answer. I'm just saying if we keep him, we keep somewhat of stability. We keep somewhat of a solid foundation. Solid foundation where another quarterback can come in, a younger quarterback can come in. Even Stidham can learn. Stidham was there all year. Most of the year, I think it was, or whatever. And I get that. But for Stidham to get in there and play last couple of games, yeah, I thought that was good. I thought it was good. I didn't like it under the circumstances, how it was done, but that kind of thing. But hey, the Broncos are going to have to make some serious moves in the offseason. And, I would like to see Russell Wilson stay, for various reasons. I stated, some of those earlier right now. But I also don't want the Broncos. If the Broncos are going to pay Russell Wilson anyways, why not keep him on the team? If for nothing else, for good backup situation. I just dropped one of my notes, guys. Like good backup situation, or even whatever the case may be. But keep him there. If you're going to pay the guy anyways, pay him to be there. Don't pay him to go away. Doesn't make too much sense right there. Okay. Let's see. Come on, I would have to agree. KJ Hamler and Tim Patrick, they're on their way out. I don't see them coming back. They haven't played all year. Both coming off of injury. You're not going to get any trade value for them. Obviously not. But yeah, I don't see them coming back either. I really don't. That's why I say hang on to Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy for sure. Okay. Muhammad Badri says best case scenario to cut Russell Wilson and draft a quarterback. Okay. If you draft a quarterback, then who's he going to learn under? You're just going to throw him to the Wolves? And have you guys seen the schedule we have for next year? Holy smokes. We got to play the Baltimore Ravens. They're in the playoffs. We have to play the Cleveland Browns. They're in the playoffs. The list goes on. It's going to be a tough schedule. Tough schedule. We got to play the Cincinnati Bengals. Okay. Now I know they didn't make it, but they're a tough team. It's just it's going to be a tough season. Do we want to throw a rookie quarterback into that season? I don't. Absolutely, I don't. So, Muhammad, I understand what you're saying, but in my opinion, you can't do that. You have to have a solid, quality NFL experience quarterback to mentor the quarterback that you draft. Because if not, who's he going to learn from? I mean, is he going to learn from Stidham? Really? No. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. You've got to have a solid quarterback that's played in the NFL, had success, maybe not so much now, but did in the past, and knows how to relate to that younger quarterback. You have to do it. You can't just throw them out there. You just can't. I mean, maybe there's a few quarterbacks in the entire NFL history that's ever been able to do that. Maybe a Tom Brady, maybe a Peyton Manning, Patrick Mahomes, obviously. But even Patrick Mahomes sat behind, what was that guy? He got injured, and he had the guy is on the tip of my tongue. I can't think. It was a Chiefs quarterback when Patrick Mahomes got drafted. He got injured. I think he broke his leg or something really crazy. Almost died. Oh, I can't think of his name. Anyways, Patrick Mahomes was behind him. He was behind. Man, that's going to drive me nuts now until I can think of what that guy's name was. Okay. Kyle Hudson says Russell Wilson used to find Tyler Lockett when he was scrambling in Seattle. Russell lost his confidence in the pocket. Exactly. He has lost his confidence in the pocket, but it doesn't work well when the Broncos receivers are running precise routes, and when a receiver is running a precise route and the quarterback is scrambling the opposite way or trying to just even find daylight somewhere, it doesn't work out too well. It doesn't work out. So, it's going to be a tough situation. It's going to be a tough situation. You either pay him to stay on the Broncos or you pay him to walk. And I don't like the second one. I really don't. Okay. Richie Rich is in the house. Richie Rich, thanks so much for chiming in. Really do appreciate you in the chat. Richie Rich says, in my opinion, best case scenario is cut Russell Wilson, trade some of the players we can get capital for, and bring in via the draft and young guys. Again, another Russell Wilson cut. Who are we going to get to start as quarterback? Stidham? He didn't look good against the Raiders. And everybody goes, yeah, but look what he did against the Chargers. Well, that's the Chargers. Chargers defense was not nearly as good as the Raiders. I mean, Raiders have Max Crosby. And I know Chargers got some player, but they were injured and then they have issues in the whole bit. So I wouldn't banking on, Stidham being the answer after watching the Broncos beat the Chargers. I wasn't banking on that. My whole thing was, can we beat the Raiders? Answer, nope. Can't do it. Can't beat the Raiders either. So I don't know. It's just, I don't know what direction they're going to go in, guys. I really don't. But it just seems like they may be in line to keep Russell Wilson for the very statement that I mentioned. I mean, they're not going to be able to have draft picks. Well, they got 6, but they're not going to be able to move up in the first round of the draft unless they trade key players. And I don't want that to happen because it's a crapshoot. It's a gambling situation. You don't know what kind of quarterback you're going to get. Is he going to work in the NFL? Is he going to be another Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Peyton Manning? Or is he going to be another Brock Osweiler or Drew Lock? I don't know. You don't know, guys. You don't know. Or some of the other quarterbacks that's been drafted and been a bust. Just not worked out. They can be great in college. Fantastic in college. Get to the NFL and they're like, holy smokes, ain't working. So it'll be interesting. Speaking of quarterbacks, speaking of Stidham says he's the Broncos guy. Stidham, hey, did you go back and watch the film against the Raiders? Because if you did, I don't think you're the guy, dude. I really don't think you're the guy. Let me get to this. I'll get right back to the chat. After Russell Wilson was benched the last 2 games of the season and Jarrett Stidham took over, Stidham wants to be the club's quarterback one in 2024. He said, and I quote, "I'm very confident I can be the guy for us next season. I have no doubts about that whatsoever. I'll be back in April, ready to rock. I'm excited about the opportunity," end quote. Have the Broncos said that he's going to be back? Have the Broncos said that Stidham's going to be the Broncos quarterback one? I haven't heard that. According to Stidham, he's getting ready to be the Broncos starting quarterback in 2024. Well, let's go back, guys. Who brought in Stidham? That's right. That's right. Sean Payton brought him in from the Raiders. And ironically, when he played against the former team, the last game of the season, he stunk up the joint. Does that mean that the Raiders knew something? And Sean Payton just has a blind eye because he likes this kid? I don't know. It was only Stidham's second start in his entire career. So maybe that had a lot of stuff to do with it. You know, jitters going back to Vegas, playing against the team he used to play on. I don't know. Maybe it was. But is Stidham, in my opinion, the answer? I really can't say yes or no because he has a 500 record. And it was Sean Payton who brought him to Denver. Does it mean that if they keep Russell Wilson, it's going to be a quarterback challenge? Possibly could be. I mentioned that earlier. Very well could be. But you got to have somebody more than Stidham if you're going to draft a quarterback. You've got to have a Russell Wilson who knows how to win games. Yes, guys, not as of late, but he did have that 5-game win streak, but not as of late overall, but he has in the past. And I don't think and feel and believe that NFL players forget how to play the game. Their body and their functionality and their ability may be diminished, but I don't think they forget how to play. I really don't. So Russell Wilson hasn't forgotten how to play. He just may not be able to do a lot of those things he used to when he was younger, which is obvious, which is absolutely obvious. Okay, Spence GC in the house. Still think our next starting quarterback is Nix or McCarthy from the draft. I miss my I bet you do, man. Spence says, I miss my Conas. Guys, I'm not going to get into why he mentioned all that, but you got to go back and watch some of the neighborhoods and some of the Bronco neighborhoods that we do on Sunday for Bronco game. Spence GC is absolutely hilarious, man. Absolutely hilarious. You got to go in there and watch some of the very beginning ones. It's not beginning of the season, but the beginning of the shows of the neighborhood. Spence, you're something special, man. You're something special. Yeah, I miss doing the neighborhood. I really do. I'm going to miss doing the neighborhood. It's going to be a long off season not doing those. Those are a whole lot of fun. You guys in the chat make it extra special, no doubt about it. Okay. Daniel Miller says, I can see a coaching change if we don't make playoffs next season. Ooh. Wow. Wow, Daniel, thank you so much for being in the chat. Really do appreciate it. Thanks for your comment. That makes me think a bit. That makes me think quite a bit. And here's why. Sean Payton, and the topic of the show, which I'll get into, and this goes right up that line there, Daniel. Really appreciate your comment. He signed a 5-year contract, and he's not one to really not honor that contract. That being said, I'm not sure, because I don't want to give away that particular segment and topic I'm going to put on, but I'm not sure that they would fire him. Put it that way. I'll throw it out there, kind of like a little tease. I'm not sure the ownership would fire Sean Payton. And I will get into the topic of the show in just a little bit. But Daniel, thank you so much, and you'll understand what I mean when I reference what that show's topic is. You'll understand completely. For those of you who don't know, it says this is definitely Sean Payton's team. Okay, so I'll get into that in just a little bit. First off, let's see. Oh yeah, Alex Smith. That's who I was trying to think of in Kansas City. Yeah, so Patrick Mahomes was drafted, and he learned under Alex Smith. It was Alex Smith that had that horrible injury. He almost died from it. He got some type of infection in his leg, and it was very, very sad to see that happen to him. That's how Patrick Mahomes got into the starting role, was because Alex Smith got injured. It was sad, absolutely sad. I haven't heard anything about Alex Smith lately. I don't know what he's doing, or what it may be, but or what he's doing and how he's feeling and stuff. But man, what a tragic way to end your career. That's for sure. Muhammad Badri says, Bill, I see your points. That the Broncos are going to pay Russ either way. Why not keep him and draft a quarterback to learn from Russell Wilson? He will have to restructure his contract, though. Okay, that's exactly right. Maybe that's why earlier in the show, when I mentioned that Sean Payton's willing to stay on the Broncos, and George Payton says there's a definite possibility he could stay. Well, there you go, Muhammad. He may restructure his contract. He may just do that. I don't know what that would be. I don't know if that would mean giving up his guaranteed money for injury. I doubt that. But he may take a pay cut. I don't know. I don't know. But that's interesting. And that's what I would really want to happen. I would want Russell Wilson to stay, draft a quarterback, and have him learn under Russell Wilson, play in the preseason. And if the Broncos are way ahead in games, maybe put him in there to, give him some experience and whatnot in a blowout either way, whether the Broncos are winning big or losing big. Put him in there, see what the kid can do. All right. Okay. Kamani Health says, keep Wilson and signed a veteran quarterback and let those two battle it out. Again, I don't know. Do we want to go down that retread again of, retreaded quarterbacks and things like that? I mean, haven't we learned our lesson? I mean, sure, Peyton Manning worked out because it's Peyton Manning. But, ironically, the quarterbacks that we had, like Joe Flacco, was just blowing up in Cleveland. I mean, we had him, and now he's in the playoffs, and he didn't do anything like that for us. But it has to do with coaching. It has to do with chemistry. It has to do with the type of style and all that. That's all part of it. But I'm not sure I want to go down another retread of a quarterback. I don't know. This whole Russell Wilson thing soured me. I mean, I really was excited when we got him, but this whole Russell Wilson thing has really, really soured on me. I'm just ready to move on. From retreads is what I'm saying. Kamani also says Stidham is a joke. Yes, he is. I don't like him. So, I mean, I like the kid. I like, he tries, but maybe it's because, like I said before, he just hasn't had enough NFL playing experience. I don't know what it is, but if anybody can change a quarterback for the better, it's Sean Payton, because look what he did with Drew Brees. And I will get into that too. So, I don't know. I don't know if Stidham's the answer. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know what this offseason is going to entail. I have no idea. I don't know if we're going to have Russell Wilson. I don't know if we even have Stidham. I'm up in the air. I have no idea, guys. Lennon 424 says hi. Say hi, Lennon. How you doing? Nice to have you in the chat. Thanks so much for chiming in. Really do appreciate it. And if you have anything to comments and whatnot, feel free to say it. We'll talk about it. How's that? Spence GC says Alex Smith's horrific injury was in Washington, not Kansas. You're right. It was. You're right. It was in Washington. But he was wasn't he on Kansas City, though, when Patrick Mahomes was drafted? Or am I just missing that by a couple of years? I think I might be missing that by a couple of years. But usually, 9 times out of 10, most quarterbacks that are really good quarterbacks, like a Patrick Mahomes or a Justin Herbert, or I know I said that, it's a Charger, I know, but he is good. Or CJ Stroud. Most of the time, and normally, they don't just come right into a team and just catch fire. That's not the norm. The norm is to wait behind another quarterback. Look at Aaron Rodgers. He sat behind Brett Favre all of those years before he got to be a starter. Tom Brady was behind Tony Easton, I think it was. Or Tony Easton, I think it was. Tony Easton. Is that the one that got hurt? Oh, Bledsoe. He was behind Bledsoe. Bledsoe got hurt, and the rest is history. Tom Brady comes in and never looked back. Okay? But he was behind Drew Bledsoe. He waited his turn. That's what happens most of the time. Okay? I'm not banking on the fact that we're going to draft a quarterback, especially in the 10th pick, even if we move up. That even if, let's say we do get a Bo Nix. Is he going to be the answer? Come right in and be all world? I don't know. I have no idea. How about a Penix? I mean, he's got, he's injury prone. So coming to the NFL with all those injuries, I don't see that as being a positive thing. But who knows? He may come in and just light the world on fire. I have no clue. But 9 times out of 10, in my opinion, they turn out like a Drew Lock or a Brock Osweiler, somebody like that. And they just fizzle away. Because never turned into anything. Never amounted. All right. Let's get into the next topic. And guys, I have back-to-back. You got it. Jackass of the week. Okay. This particular leadoff jackass of the week comes courtesy, I say that lightly, comes courtesy of none other than Raider fan in Vegas. Things never change. Things never change, whether it be Oakland, LA, or Vegas. Doesn't matter wherever the Raiders have called home, their fans are still thugs. Here we go. When Alex Singleton celebrated the fumble recovery in the Raiders' end zone last Sunday's season-ending game at Vegas, Raiders fans threw beer. Threw beer on him? No. Raider fans threw beer bottles. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. They got bottles in a stadium? Aluminum? Plastic? It didn't say. It said bottles. Now, to me, bottles means glass. It could be plastic bottles. I've never had beer out of a plastic bottle. Have you? I've never have. I've had, 7-Up, Coke, whatever. Not beer out of a plastic bottle. Out of a can. Out of a keg. Out of a Dixie cup. Well, I know, guys. I date myself. Things like that. Not plastic bottle. Bottle. It didn't specify in this article whether it was a plastic one, which I seriously doubt. Aluminum. And that's still a bottle. And glass. Let me continue. Raider fans threw beer bottles at Singleton. At least 5 bottles were thrown at him. Fortunately, Singleton wasn't hit or injured, but that isn't the point. The point is you don't act like a freaking idiot at a football game. Okay? That is an absolute assault on another individual. And 5 bottles? I don't care if they're plastic. I don't care if they're made out of balloon material. What doesn't matter? You don't throw objects at an athlete on a field. That is absolutely, totally uncalled for. Now, I don't know if that person or persons were ejected from the game. I don't know that. It didn't show it on TV, but I did see the objects being thrown at Singleton, and he dodged them and whatnot. But that's not the point. The point is you cannot do that, period. Those guys should be barred and banned from ever being in another NFL stadium ever again. You don't do it. That's an assault, absolute assault on another person. Okay? Now, my other point is this. It's a freaking game. You cannot control what they're doing on the field. If your team is winning, then you cheer for them. If their team is losing, you still cheer for them. You cannot control the outcome because you're not in the ability to do so. So that means you can take it out on another opposing team's player? Really? So Raider fan, let me ask you this. What gives you the freaking right to assault another person, period? Whether it's at a football game, a baseball game, a hockey, whatever it is, you cannot do that. If a person walked up to another person on the street and threw a beer bottle at them, or 5 of them, at the person, wouldn't that be an assault? Absolutely it would. Sure it would. You got that bottom dollar right there. That would be an absolute assault. I hope this comes to punish these guys, this person or persons that did this against Alex Singleton. Totally uncalled for. I've never liked Raider fan to begin with because they are thugs. Just look at their logo on their helmet. I'll give you some indication. And this is another proof that these people, these human beings, or what if they want to call them human beings, this is another example of why stiffer penalties have to be done to keep things like this happening. What if that would have hit? What if that would have hit Singleton, in his hand or something and broke his hand? I mean, things like that could happen. Could Flap? I mean, I know he's got a face mask on, but I don't know if he has a guard up here. What if it would have hit him in the eye? What if he wouldn't have been looking and smacked him in the face? I mean, things can happen. What if it hit him in the knee and sliced his knee? Things can happen like this. You cannot allow this, period. All right. I move on to the second one. This is absolutely tragic in every aspect of tragic. And it's in the Jackass of the Week because of what transpired. And again, it goes back to, fans getting into an altercation and somebody gets upset because somebody else said something about their team and they take it way, way, way too far. Now, years ago, I don't know if anybody out there remembers this, but it was the Dodgers, and it was the Dodgers and the Giants. The game was at Dodger Stadium. There was a Giants fan who was there enjoying the game. I don't know if it was with his family, or son, or friends. I think it might have been. I'm not quite sure, but probably friends, because he and his buddies got separated. They parked in different spots in the parking lot at Dodger Stadium. And he's walking over to his car, and he's wearing Giants gear, and 3 Dodger, quote, fans, yeah, right, thugs, more like it, jumped this guy and beat him nearly to death, pounding his head on the asphalt, and rendered him unconscious and struggling to live. He survived, but he's basically a vegetable. His wife has to take care of him. It's sad. I'm not going to get into all of that stuff. But this is along the same line of when fans take their team way too seriously. Way too seriously. If your team loses, oh well, suck it up. You had nothing to do with them playing the way they did anyways. So just shut up. Be a good fan and not a thug fan. All right, here it is. After the Buffalo Bills defeated the Miami Dolphins last Sunday, Dalen Brody and his friends were returning to their car, and there was an altercation, didn't say what, but there was an altercation with a driver of another car a few blocks away from the stadium. The other driver, pulled out a handgun and fired shots at Brody, killing him and rendering him dead at the scene. Yeah. Way to go, Miami fan. No, not a Miami fan, a Miami freak, Miami idiot, a Miami moron. You don't do that. Everybody in this country has a right to be a fan of whatever team they want to be a fan of. That does not mean you take your frustration of losing or whatever out on somebody else, an innocent person, like I mentioned, the Giants fan at Dodger Stadium, or this guy Brody, who was minding his own business, Maybe he was throwing barbs like, Buffalo, you Miami sucks, whatever. It doesn't matter. You just keep walking. Walk away. Why does it bother you? Who cares? I've had so many things said to me about Broncos. Your Broncos suck. I'm like, yeah, we do. Yeah, whatever. I can't change it. People go, yeah, well, aren't you pissed off that you lost to the Dolphins 70-20? Yeah, whatever. It's one loss. I can't control it. Was it hard to watch? It's kind of fun. Me and Mike were joking about it in the neighborhood. It's kind of different. But hey, if you can't control the outcome, why are you getting freaked out? Why is it bothering you? Who freaking cares? Move on. Enjoy life. Life doesn't revolve around a sports team. It's fun to watch. It's enjoyable to watch. But when you take it to the next level, that is wrong. And to me, that's not being a fan. That's being a thug. And Broncos country, we are better than that. Thank goodness I haven't heard anything like that coming out of, Broncos country. Like I've heard, this just the other day about this poor guy. This poor guy leaves the family. Why? Because he was enjoying a football game. Respectfully enjoying a football game. Words may have been exchanged. I'm not saying, that if he started, I'm not saying that he got what he deserves, because nobody deserves to die because you cheer for a certain team. Nobody does. Just walk away. Be the better person. Take the higher road. Nope. Not this Dolphin, quote, thug fan. No. Tragic. Absolutely. Absolutely tragic. I feel so sorry for his family. There was a GoFundMe. I was going to put the link up there, but I changed my mind. There's a GoFundMe, for his funerals and for his transferring his body to Canada. I guess he's Canadian, and lived in the Miami area. But, I really, really do feel sorry for his family. I only put that in there as Jackass of the Week because of that Miami thug who should be thrown in prison. All right. There we go. Let's see what we got here. Okay, here we go. Kamai says, Bill, what's the quarterback name who was in San Francisco and got a trade? Was it Trey something? You think you should ask about him? Trey Lance. That's who it was. Trey Lance. Good question. I don't know. I'm not sure if Trey Lance would be a Sean Payton fit. I'm not sure about that. But I mean, at this point in time, it's kind of worth. I mean, if I mentioned I didn't want to go down, quarterback retreads. Well, he's not really a retread. He hasn't been in the league for like 15 years. But that might be someone to look at. At least bring him in for a look, see, kind of like a little workout, that kind of thing. Come on, says, Bill, you're not a jackass. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate the fact that I'm not a jackass. I probably could be if you ask certain people that know me, but that's a whole nother story. Kamani says, those Raider fans are jerks. Absolutely they are. And think about it. You don't throw bottles you don't throw anything. Just, okay, you were winning the game anyways. The Broncos never led. Raiders never trailed. What are you getting freaked out about? Just freaking retard. Just, idiots. Oh, they drive me nuts. Can't stand people like that. I really can't. I just don't understand that. Let's see. Kamani says that Miami thug, he says fan, but I say thug. The Miami thug is murder and a low life, and people got to realize we don't get paid as a fan. God, please be with this family. Absolutely. Absolutely. You don't. I mean, let's make it kind of personal. You go over and kiss your wife goodbye and say, hey, I'm going out with my buddies. I'll be at the game. I'll be back in time for dinner, and we'll go out and hopefully we'll go out to dinner and celebrate a Buffalo Bills win. Instead, she gets a phone call from the police or someone informing her that her husband was shot and killed. Yeah. Can you imagine? Maybe his wife says, you know what, honey, why don't you not go to the game today? Watch it on TV. They're going to be in the playoffs and whatnot. Watch it on TV, and then you can go to a playoff game or something like that. And he's like, no, honey, I want to go to the last game. It's the last game of the season. I want to see him win the division, in person, blah, blah. And then that happens. You never know. You just never, ever, ever know, guys. You never know. Cherish each and every day. Cherish each and every day with your family, your loved ones, your wife, your husband, if there's females out there watching, your kids. Cherish the moments you have, because you never know what tomorrow can bring, or even later that day. Very, very, very sad. My heart goes out to the entire family. It really does. Very sad. All right. Patrick Surtain. This is great for him. Patrick Surtain has been selected to the National Football League Players Association All-Pro team by his NFL peers for the second consecutive year. Congratulations, Patrick Surtain. Absolutely great, great award, great acknowledgement by your peers. However, and this one I don't understand. However, he was snubbed by the NFL writers to the National Football League All-Pro team. 2 Broncos players were selected, and they are Justin Simmons, I totally agree, and Mims over Surtain. Wow. Now, I know Mims had a great season. He really did. He showed flashes on punt returns, kickoff returns, catching some passes and things like that. Yeah. But to get the nod to the NFL Pro Bowl, or All-Pro, I should say, NFL All-Pro team, and not Surtain, that is absolutely a literal slap in the face, my friends. A literal slap in the face to Patrick Surtain. He's been the best corner in the entire NFL. I know people are going to argue about it, and I don't really care. He, in my opinion, is the best corner in the entire NFL. And he's snubbed from the NFL's All-Pro team. Now, he's on the NFL Players Association All-Pro team, not the NFL Writers All-Pro team. That one really, really bothers me. Absolutely really bothers me. Because if his own peers think he's worthy of All-Pro, how in heaven's name can these other guys not see that? Are they not looking at the same player? I mean, seriously. Got to be kidding me. Wow. All right. Topic of the show is definitely Sean Payton's team. And I'm going back to Kai. Was it Kai who mentioned that? Let me go back here real quick. Might not have been. Talking about Sean Payton. I can't find it right now, but I'm pretty sure it was either asked by Kai or somebody else. I'm not sure, but here it is. Sean Payton's organization. Per Adam Schefter, the Denver Broncos owners, mainly George Penner, has said, and I quote, "It's Sean Payton's organization, and he gets to shape it any way he wants it, including a decision on the future of George Payton as general manager," end quote. Wow. So a head coach has more authority over a general manager? And I understand that, Sean Payton, he's the overseer of his coaching staff and the players and whatnot. But George Payton is the one that signs the contracts, works with the contracts. He's the one that hires or, signs players like he did Russell Wilson. He's also involved in draft choices and draft picks and draft, who they're going to draft. But Sean Payton, this is his organization? What does that mean? Does that mean that the owner just said, hey, you know what? We got Sean Payton in the house. We're just going to let him run everything. Not quite sure that's a good thing. I mean, Bill Belichick ran the organization and the general manager position in New Orleans. It worked out pretty well over there, but that is Bill Belichick. And by the way, Bill Belichick is not the Patriots head coach anymore. In fact, they just hired a guy who used to play for him. I can't remember his name right offhand. I didn't put it in my notes. But Bill Belichick did that for years. It doesn't always work out. It takes a special person to be able to be, quote, head coach and general manager. I don't understand why the Broncos organization would do that. Now, here's where I said I was going to make a comparison between Sean Payton and Mike Shanahan. Now, when Mike Shanahan was the Broncos head coach for all of those years, he didn't have successful years with John Elway early on. And why was that? Well, it was a work in progress. They had to figure each other out. Did Mike Shanahan have all that control and total control? Well, yes, he kind of did. I mean, there was still a general manager, but, he had an awful lot of control of the Denver Broncos. And that's because Pat Bowlen gave Mike Shanahan that type of control. But after a while, it went to Mike Shanahan's head, and things didn't really work out towards the end of his tenure as a Broncos head coach. Is it going to work out with Sean Payton? I don't know. I just don't understand why a head coach would be more powerful and be able to hire and fire a general manager than the general manager would have. That does not make any sense to me. Doesn't make any sense to me. And that's why when it was mentioned up here, if we were going to have, if Sean Payton was, if we don't make the playoffs, right here, Daniel said this, and I'll bring it back up again. Daniel Miller says, I can see a coaching change if we don't make the playoffs next season. Well, it's not going to be a head coaching change next season if Sean Payton is in control of the organization. He's not going to fire himself. There's no way he's going to do that. So if he has control and is definitely the team's, it's definitely his organization, so to speak, is what it says right here in the article, then, I don't see Sean Payton firing himself. He's not going to walk away. He'll do anything and everything to correct it. It's if he has that kind of power to do so. And it sounds to me from Adam Schefter quoting Greg Penner, sounds to me like that's what he has. Let me continue. Sean Payton and George Payton have worked well together, and Sean is known to respect George and his abilities. But Sean is expected to have the final say. Well, there you go. If Sean Payton has the final say, then George Payton has no say at all. Period. Okay. That being said, on the heels of that article, here's the follow-up to that. Payton staying as general manager. According to Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero, the Denver Broncos are expected to bring back general manager George Payton for the 2024 season. Most thought George would be let go due to his handling of the Russell Wilson signing, the signing of free agents that didn't work out, and the Wilson threat of his contract. Nope. George Payton is staying because Sean Payton is not firing him. Crazy. Just crazy that Sean Payton has that kind of power and control given to him by Greg Penner and the Broncos organization and Broncos ownership. It's just mind-boggling to me. But we'll see how it works out. I'm glad that they're keeping George Payton. I like him. Why? Because I want stability. And since the Broncos won 8 games this year, 3 more than last year, albeit it should have won a lot more. It should have had at least 10 or 11. But in any case, I think that's why, because it said in there that George and Sean work really well together. So let's keep the foundation intact. Let's not make any rash decisions and whatnot. And let's see how it works with these two going into a draft together, and see how this next season works out. All right, final topic for tonight's Friday Broncos Breakdown show. Thanks once again, guys, for being in the chat, for all your comments. You guys are the best, and I will acknowledge you guys right after this article and right before I sign off. All right, here it is. Sean Payton, there was a question in chat, I believe. The Broncos, who are they going to go after? What kind of quarterback is a good fit for Sean Payton's offense? Here it is. Sean Payton is looking for, Sean Payton is looking for another Drew Brees. No, no, no. There is no other Drew Brees. Every quarterback is different. Peyton Manning was different than John Elway. John Elway is different than Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson's different from anybody else. Drew Brees is different than Patrick Mahomes, and Patrick Mahomes is different than Tom Brady. Tom Brady is different than everybody. See what I'm saying, guys? When you start looking for a clone of a player, you're going to be disappointed more times than not. Just look at John Elway's track record in drafting quarterbacks. He tried to find another John Elway. He tried to clone himself, and he never found that guy. Sure, he found the height he was looking at. He found the arm strength he was looking at. He didn't find the mindset and ability to do what is needed in the NFL. None of those quarterbacks that John Elway drafted ever panned out. Ever panned out. The only ones that did was the ones that he brought over, and that was Russell Wilson. And that was Peyton Manning. It's the only one that worked out. So, you're not going to find another Drew Brees. But here's the article. What we as Broncos fans know is Russell Wilson and Jarrett Stidham aren't the answer in a Sean Payton style of offense. So who is? Okay. Neither one is the right fit, and largely because neither one is Drew Brees. There's that name again. There's that name. So the quarterback rebuild is underway. So prepare for at least 2 more seasons of mediocrity at best. That's what scares me. If we get rid of Russell Wilson, we're going to have mediocrity for quite a while. And I'm not saying that Russell Wilson is the answer in the upcoming season or seasons. What I am saying is if we get a quarterback in the draft, he can sit there and learn under Russell Wilson as to what it takes to be able to read defenses and whatever it is that they study. Okay? So let me continue. Because the Broncos are strapped. Hang on. Because the Broncos are strapped when it comes to salary cap, therefore the quarterback will have to come from the draft. And sitting at number 12, it's not likely they will get a top start now quarterback to be that guy out of the gate. I totally agree. I don't know what direction they're going to go. I really don't. But if Sean Payton is looking for another, quote, Drew Brees, he's not going to find him. Absolutely not going to find him. He may get close. He may get close to the type of player that Drew Brees was, the type of way he could read defenses or whatever. That's all well and good. We've had those guys before. They haven't panned out. And Drew Brees, he had to sit behind a quarterback. He sat behind quarterbacks when he came out of college. That's what you do. So if he being Sean Payton and George Payton and Greg Penner, if they're going to find that guy in a cloned type and style of a Drew Brees, he's going to have to learn under whom? Under Russell Wilson is what I say. I don't want to go down retread alley again on quarterbacks. We got one already on the team. Keep him there for a couple of years. Let the young guy learn under him, get experience in the NFL. Let Sean Payton work with him, get him better, get him to the NFL quality he needs to be. But don't get rid of a Russell Wilson because you need somebody to fall back on. We don't have anybody right now. Stidham's not the answer. Russell Wilson's not the long-term answer either. But if you're going to draft a quarterback and you need to build the quarterback rebuild, which starts now, you're going to have some growing pains. And that's going to be at least another year to 2, maybe 3. Let the young guy learn under Wilson. Let Wilson stay through his contract in Denver. Pay him what you already promised to pay him, which is already on the contract. And then look at the young guy, at the rookie quarterback. Look at that guy after he's looked and worked under Russell Wilson and Sean Payton, and then put him in as the number 1 quarterback. But don't do it out of the gate. It's not going to work. 9 times out of 10, you cannot learn on the fly in the NFL. It doesn't work. It absolutely doesn't work. All right, guys. I'm going to wrap this up. You guys have been fantastic in the chat. Really do appreciate it. I want to start out with Kyle Hudson. He was batting leadoff in the chat. Kyle Hudson, thank you so much for being in the chat for first time. I really do appreciate it. Kamani Dixon, thank you so much as always being in the chat. Muhammad Badri, love it. I appreciate it as well. Richie Rich, thank you so much. Spence GC, Daniel Miller, great question there, Daniel. Really do appreciate it. You guys have been the best. You're always the best. Lennon424, thank you so much as well for being in the chat. For each and every single one of you, you make this show that much more enjoyable, and I look forward to it each and every Friday to interact with you guys. I appreciate it tremendously that you guys take out your time on a Friday evening right before a weekend, and this one's a long weekend. A lot of people have Monday off due to Martin Luther King holiday, and you guys taking out your time to be in the chat, watch the show, this crazy guy talking about Broncos stuff, and really do appreciate it. You guys are the best. I hope this new year has been great out of the gate for you guys. We're in day 12 of the 2024 calendar year. Hope you guys have had a fantastic week. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. There is no Bronco football Sunday. There is no Elevation Orange on Monday, but I will be back this coming Friday. Until then, you guys have a fantastic weekend. I will talk to you next Friday. Till then, guys, take care. Bye-bye.
Fast lane when I pass in the street, bag of money in the passenger seat. Simcoe's been asking for me on the road from the west to the east. Way up, I might never come down, cause the coast racking up the flame out. So high, I might never come down, so what, this is my lifestyle. Wait a minute,